Get ready to transform into your shadow form. This is our review of Casting Shadows.
Casting Shadows is a dice-rolling, action points game about collecting spells and companions to attack and eliminate your opponents. And I had a lot of fun figuring out how to be the best Shadowcaster I can be.
This game continues the trend of unstable games going downhill. We'll tell you all about it after this quick how to play.
The game is played over several turns, with each turn consisting of 3 phases.
During phase 1, players will roll their dice to form their resource pool.
During phase 2, players get 4 action points to spend their resources however they choose.
The actions include moving your character on the hexes, collecting and casting spells, re-rolling your dice, or refreshing the cards.
During phase 3, players can absorb shadow fragments to increase their shadow tracker and then transform into their shadow character.
Playing spells will allow players to target their opponents and lower their health points.
When a player's HP reaches 0, they are immediately eliminated from the game, and the last player remaining wins.
Before you go off casting spells, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button.
All your likes and subscribes really help us make more great content for you, so thanks.
So this was a Kickstarter that Lee backed, I believe. After the last couple of unstable games, I've been kind of iffy on backing them on Kickstarter or buying their new stuff. But Lee's like, well, we got the other ones. We might as well continue our collection. And he got this one and we were playing it. And I think it continues the trend of great production value, great artwork, lots of fun, punny names. However, the actual gameplay, it uses a lot of the same mechanics from their other games, collecting spells instead of powers and abilities, rolling dice, attacking, last player standing kind of a thing. However, I feel like this one relied too heavily on the dice. I'm not a big dice rolling fan, and this one requires you to have good rolls of the dice, otherwise you won't get the resources you need to actually play this game correctly. And it's just, for the most part, kind of boring when you're playing. It's just move here, do this, move here, do that. It doesn't have that funness factor that I'd say Here to Slay has when you're playing that one. So I feel like ever since Here to Slay, they've just been going downhill. And this one, while not as bad as Happy Little Dinosaurs, that's one of the worst ones, I expect more from their games than, oh, it looks cute and it's cool pieces, great production value, but when you're playing it, it's just kind of, it's not fun.
I kind of echo that thought about the Happy Little Dinosaurs. I was a little cautious when I saw this Kickstarter. I was like, should I, shouldn't I? But then I started reading a little about it, saw the pieces. As always, I love the little characters that they have and the art. This one kind of reminded me a little bit of like Pokemon, right? So you have like your first edition or first level, and they're like cute and maybe they don't do much, but then they evolve into something like super cool, right? So this is like a little fox with a little staff, and now this is like a 9-tailed fox. Probably some some Pokemon-esque influences there. When I read the description, right, it seemed like okay, move here, attack, and that's pretty much what it was. I just felt like, number one, these hexes are huge. And then the board, you're really just moving between like a 3 or 4 player game. You're moving like just kind of in a circle, like, oh, you've always been 1 or 2 spaces away from everyone else. So it's like a very constricted, like King of the Hill that you're like, oh, okay, I don't know.
The same criticism that we always give to unstable games, even the ones that we enjoy, is there's a lot of reading. And there's a lot of reading in this game too. All the spells have different abilities, they're all different, and they all have lots of reading of what they can do, when they can do it. They have symbols of who you can attack, where they are on the hex world, when you can attack them. But surprisingly, where they don't have any writing whatsoever are on the hex tiles. And each hex tile does something different. Whether you start there, end there, you're on there during your turn, etc. They all have different abilities that they do on the hex tile. These things are really, really big. Like this is a standard size card and this is the hex tile next to it. That's how big the hex tiles are. And there's nothing on here that explains what it does. So the whole time you're going, wait, what does that do again? It's almost the opposite. Like they took what we would normally say, oh, there's too much reading. Like, oh, well, we won't put any reading on it whatsoever. And now you have the exact opposite. Oh, why isn't there something on here for me to read? I don't want a whole paragraph like on some of your cards on Unstable Unicorns, but I want to know like just a symbol of, you go here, you get this fragment, or you go here, you get this thing, or you go here, you draw this card, or something. I don't know. It surprised me that you had all this room and you didn't put any kind of iconography on it to help a player out.
Yeah, I mean, so I will say, right, if you take Unstable Unicorns, right, I do think there's less. However, that's because you have the symbols now, but then also like not every single card is a completely different card. There's probably like 2 or 3 or 4 of this same one. So you know a little bit about what you're getting into when you're drawing the cards.
So it's a player elimination game and it's a battling game. You're collecting spells to be able to battle each other and remove health points from the other players. And as you're going along, you get the fragments so you can go from your cutesy little animal to your stud of an animal there. They do things. When you do that, you get another ability that you can use. And for the most part, I get it. It's fun. It's an interesting mechanic that they didn't use in other games, so I give them credit for that. However, I didn't feel like it was that much more beneficial for me going from one to the other. Because you have the cutesy one and then you have the bigger one, you then have 2 pieces for each. So this is the fox that you start with, the little small one, you play it around. And then this is the bigger one that it transforms to. But they're not exactly the same color. I know on video it's probably hard to tell with the orange ones that I'm holding up, but some of the other ones that go from Squirtle, so like this one and this one, they're darker, I get it, but they're still not exactly the same. So matching them up, why wouldn't you just make them the same color? I get it that it's their shadow form. This just seems unnecessarily confusing to the average player. And I'd say that Unstable Games probably reaches a mass enough audience that I'm saying the average player isn't going to be playing Terraforming Mars or Twilight Imperium, those types of games. They're going to be playing other Unstable games. So why wouldn't you just make this as easy as possible for this color matches this color, small one, big one? Why do they have to be different colors? I don't know. Some of the design decisions I'm kind of iffy on.
You know, there actually was one more higher tier, I think, that actually gave you little miniatures, which looked super cool. And I was tempted. However, that price did not tempt me much. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get these because these still look cool. They're unique. I really like it. While playing this game too, I did kind of have a reminder of the first Unstable games. Because remember, right, you had your unicorns and then you had your stable, but you had to like imagine the stable in front of you, kind of like this one. This one, you have a spell book, and the spell book only has 1 page that can hold 6 cards, and you just had to imagine that in front of you. Like, okay, here's
Well,
me.
they probably had another tier with player mats or something, right?
Yeah, maybe.
If I had to guess, I know that because you got the player mats when we did the Here to Slay.
Probably, but see this here, right? This is your Shadowcaster, your HP, your Shadow Tracker. Easily they could have notched this and said, here's your spell 1, here's your spell 2, 3, 4, here's your companion. Like maybe they could have incorporated that so that you're like, oh, okay, this is my spell tracker that I can keep track of, you know, how many spells in a companion. Overall, high marks for the uniqueness of the pieces and always the artwork. You know, it's always great. The colors, the characters, I really love it. The game mechanic wise, I did have fun. There was kind of a thing where you're just move this, move this, move this. So that was a little repetitive. I'd play it again, so I'd probably give it a 5.
Overall, there's a lot to like about this game. The artwork's always great. You can never complain about their artwork. They have a great team of artists at Unstable. However, the mechanics just really lose it for me. The things that are similar to the other games are better in their other games. The things that are different actually detract from my funness factor of it. Overall, I'm actually also going to give it a 5. Although that's like a low score. I'm saying like, Lee's like, it's not so bad, I'll give it a 5. I'm saying, well, it's not too great. I'm also gonna give it a 5. So I guess we're meeting in that middle there. So overall, if you're a big fan of Unstable games, definitely check it out. However, if you like the other games and you're content with those games, you don't really need this one. And that was our review of Casting Shadows.
What'd you think? Did you agree with our opinions? Or are you gonna go in the comments and throw shade? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny, and go party like a board gamer.